Hello again, welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to Enigmatica 2 Expert. So today we're going to pick back up where we left off. I have been doing a little bit of work. You'll see some of this in next week's speed build as well as a bit of other stuff. As I'm basically the speed build, as just kind of a spoiler hint, is a lot about starting to shape up the base, because we kind of have this floating thing that I'm not fond of. Just floating there, and I've been working on steadily shaping out the base and bringing some things together so that the base looks a little bit more uniform, right? As well as I'll probably be a bit of the building out of the walls. I've started planning and getting an idea of how I want to do that. But between episodes, I did go out and I killed a few more fire dragons just to get a bit more fire dragon blood. It's a little bit more than what I need. But that'll be alright for us. Today we're going to be mainly going for our armor and our weapon, but later on I do want to get the dragon armor pieces, but they're a bit more expensive, requiring a block each for each piece, you know. But once we get the forge set up and we kill additional dragons, and I have all the scales that I need to make my armor sets and stuff like that, we can pretty much dump all of our fire dragon stuff into creating that armor. So the armor to me is like really late, whereas the personal armor and stuff isn't all that bad. And really, I guess this isn't terrible to make. It doesn't require a ton of dragon kills, in all honesty. But anyways, I've started working on this area here. This is going to be the site of our fire dragon forge. We're actually going to have two different forges within the base. One is going to be a fire dragon forge, and one, of course, is going to be an ice dragon forge. And we're going to keep these separate, of course, because these dragons do not get along. It's not advisable that you put ice and fire dragons together unless you're asking for bad times. Now, this right here, and I know it's a weird shape right now, and it's made out of the hardened stone bricks. It's probably long-term. A lot of this isn't going to be made out of hardened stone bricks, so there will be a border to make it match with everything else, but it's actually going to go into kind of a cave, is my plan. Maybe not a massive cave, but a decent-sized cave nonetheless, and it's going to go kind of to our fire dragon hatchery, so to speak. So this area right here is pretty much going to be dedicated to our fire dragons. And I'll be building this out. This should be plenty big for a stage 5 dragon to fit in and out of. But, I mean, realistically, we'll be moving dragons with horns, so it's really not a big deal. I just want it to feel like it would fit a dragon that's maybe used by us in this area. Now, what I want to do, let me just grab a bit of these. These are, by the way, this floor is made out of silty dirt. It's not going to stay solid silty dirt, but I'm laying it out. Silty dirt's really cheap to make. I'm laying this out, and then I'll come back through and add, you know, if there's going to be a fountain or there's going to be plants or something like that as I build this out. So, but our dragon forge, I'm planning on it being, let's come back to like here, and I actually want it raised off the ground by 1 block, I think. So sitting something like that. And of course, last episode we got all the blocks together that we're going to need to make this. And so what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and make a T-shape of our Dragon Forge fire bricks. And then on the corners here, we're going to put in some block of dragon bones right here. Like that. That's our first layer. It's also our top layer as well. And then our core is going to go in the very center. Our fire aperture is going to go on any of these sides. You can kind of just pick where you want it to go. I'm going to be putting it right here. And you can see that I can click on that and it connects to the fire core, because the fire core is what actually gives you this, but the aperture will allow us to select that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our bricks. It's a fairly simple structure to make. Just remember that you need those dragon bones on the corners, and the rest of it, your core and your aperture, are pretty self-explanatory, I think, as to where they go, and the rest of it is all just fire bricks. So very, very easy multi-block to make. So we're going to do that. And you can see that now we have kind of a multi-block look to it, right? And we have these like smelters on the side, and that means we can click on any of these and open it up, and that means that this is now formed. Now there's one other component. I mean, if I throw this in, it's not going to do anything. But as you could probably tell by this picture, there's one more component that we need for this, and that is a dragon. I didn't get any between episodes because I was mainly hunting above ground dragons, but we did get 5 dragon eggs. So 3 different gray ones. I do still need a green one. I'll do a bit more underground hunting, but I didn't bother too much with that. I was just flying around full speed looking for dragons, really. But what we're going to need a couple things to hatch this. And before we get this hatched, first up, let's just go ahead and set this to dragon instead. I'm going to want a dragon horn, this right here, and I'd also like to get a dragon command staff, and I wouldn't mind a dragon bone flute either. This recipe is, I wonder why, it seems like okay, it seems like if you have an ice dragon, you only need 1 stick, and if you have a fire dragon, you need 2 sticks. And that's the recipe, I guess. And you're going to see a lot of these dragon skulls when it comes to decorating out that area, because it's going to be dedicated to dragons, you know. So there's our dragon command staff, and oh, those are field horns. There's our dragon horn. Let's go ahead and get 2 of these. Let's instead, and we got the dragon commander, craft a dragon command staff, and the ear-shattering roar to craft a dragon horn. But let's go ahead, in fact, and make 3 more of these. Might as well. And the thing about dragon horns is each one stores a dragon, pretty much like a Pokeball almost. You can think of it that way. So if you want to suck up your dragon and be able to move it, you know, wherever you want to take it, you're going to need one of these. And then there's also the dragon bone flute. Not as important, but I do want to go ahead and just grab one of these. And what these do is if your dragon takes off flying, and that's the Song of Dragons, of the Dragons advancement. But if your dragon takes off flying and you need it to land, that's what the dragon bone flute is for. I probably won't need that considering the fact that I can fly myself, but that's the worst thing about dragons is flying up high and then, you know, accidentally dismounting or something like that and falling. Of course, it's not a concern for us. And then also the dragon command staff, what it does is it's going to allow you to set your dragons to different settings. So if you want them to sit or if you want them to you know, wander or whatever, you can use that. Now, one other thing that I'm going to need is I'm going to need a bit of netherrack, and I'm also going to need flint and steel. So let's go ahead and get that. And basically what we need is we need some kind of a fire to set our dragon eggs in. And it's important that you stay close to them because they do have an issue where if the owner of them is not close to them, they will, I hope these pecks, I don't think these pecks are going to cause any issue, but there is an issue where, not necessarily a bug or anything, it's just the way it works, but if you move away from your dragons too far, when they hatch, they will wander or die or despawn or something. So just a heads up on that. As far as the first dragon that we hatch, I think I want to go with a red dragon. I feel like a red dragon just matches being, you know, the catalyst for a great forge to run. By the way, the peace candle that we got the last episode, I just went ahead and set it over here to keep mobs down for the purposes of this episode, basically. Wish you would go. We're going to be doing some stuff with pecks, but not right now. I have no interest in them right now. And they're really bad about stealing all my stuff. Like if I'm building and like I cut something up to get it out of the way, they're like, hey, let me take that. Let me have that. Now, in addition, we're going to have to make ourselves a bunch of dragon meals because we are going to need a level 3 dragon or higher to power this forge. If I recall, that's when dragons get dragon's breath, and I think that's kind of the correlation there, is that you need dragon's breath to be able to power the forge. But yeah, so you need a level 3 dragon to do this. So it's important that we do get him leveled up. Now, dragons, we haven't talked about dragons much in this go-around of this series. I can actually stand right over here and there's no more rain. We haven't talked too much about dragons, and will this put out the fire? I do not know. Let's cover that. We haven't talked about dragons in this series, though we did in the first go-around of Enigmatica, because if you recall, we had kind of that dragon hatchery area that we were working on. But when it comes to dragons, there's 2 ways to grow your dragons. First up, you can feed them dragon meals, and it will instantly increase their size by 1 day's worth. And the other way is to let them stay out of their horn. They have to be out of their horn for this to work. But you can leave your dragon out of its horn, and it will grow 1 level, or 1 Minecraft day's worth every Minecraft day. Now, it's very, very slow to grow them with time. Why are you following me? Oh, you're going to attack me. Okay. That's fine. I'll beat you to death. It's very slow to grow them through time, because to reach max size, I mean, you're talking about, I think it's 300 days worth. But 300 dragon meals is a whole lot more reasonable, I think. And it takes about 5 minutes for this egg to hatch. One option is to kind of block it in so the dragon can't escape, because it will wander whenever it hatches a lot of times. So that's one option, or you can stand near it, keep an eye on it. I do suggest that you stand near it regardless, because if you don't, like I said, it may despawn on you. And you'll find that you don't have a dragon. So, and there we go. There's our fire dragon. And so you can see in our dragon horn, it's going to say fire dragon unnamed. Gender is a male, and the stage is 1, 0 days. Now, as far as breeding dragons, there's only 2 things that have to be true for you to be able to breed a dragon. First up is that one's a male, one's a female. Pretty self-explanatory. And then secondary, you need to make sure that they're the same type. Not the same color, but the same type. So fire dragons cannot breed with ice dragons, and of course vice versa. And you should remember that fire dragons and ice dragons are mortal enemies. They will kill each other on sight. Whether they're tamed or they're not, they will kill each other on sight. Now, if you have baby dragons, they're probably not going to be able to do much, but I've never tried it. I just keep them separate. I've had them attack each other once, and I'm not doing it ever again. And then basically for breeding, all you need is fire lily mixture or ice lily mixture, which will allow you to breed your dragons. But we're not breeding dragons today. What I want to do is I want to get this dragon leveled up, and you can pretty much use any kind of meat that you want, including these right here, bee grubs. They can be used to level up your dragons also. And that's what we're going to be using first up to make our dragon meals. Probably not for all of them, but for a lot of them. We got the dragon growth hormone advancement. I need to get this area chunk loaded like all the time. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab our dragon meals. And let's set down our dragon right here. And let's go ahead and start growing this dragon. Now right now it says it's a stage 1. Now it's a stage 2. Let's keep growing it. We should have plenty to get it up to stage 3. There's a stage 3 dragon. Not too big. They can be ridden on at this stage, which is kind of nice, but it goes much, much bigger. Like, much, much bigger. I know a lot of people don't like to ride them at stage 5. I don't mind it because there's actually a good third-person view mode within the mod for riding your dragons. But I know some people don't like the large ones. A lot of people don't go above a stage 3. Stage 3 still gives you flight and all the attacks and stuff of a dragon. But, yeah. And then, of course, you can, at this point, we can ride our dragon. There we go. And you can see that we can take off flying. This is the third person view. Now you can do the first person view. It's not too bad when you're in a low stage dragon, but as your dragon gets bigger, it is a bit nasty sometimes if you're in first person mode. I don't mind it in third person mode at all though. And you have a couple of attacks with your dragon. Let's pop into controls and let me find them. Okay, it's actually right here at the very top. So you have Dragon Strike, Dragon Down, Baby Dragon Off, and then your Dragon Breath, which, yeah, I didn't show you, but if you have a baby dragon, it can sit on your shoulder, and you can have a few of them on you. So you can do like your whole Khaleesi thing, if you so desire. Let's set Jumphead 4, yeah, just to get them used. But I'm going to set Dragon Breath to 0, because that's what we would actually be using a lot of. So if you do a Dragon Breath, you can see it does like that. That's just your standard Dragon Breath. And then you'll notice that occasionally it'll shoot a meteor down. That's kind of an AoE that you can do. I probably should have set this to something a little bit more convenient, which is Dragon Down. But yeah, it'll do a meteor which will explode kind of like TNT, and it will do a bit of damage. I don't know. I want to test one thing, because in the past it was not enabled for you to make charred dirt and stuff with your dragon, and I'm just kind of curious if we can do that with our own dragons now, because it's one thing that used to bug me, because charred dirt and frozen stone and stuff like that were always really, really cool blocks, but if you couldn't make them yourself, they were always a pain to farm on a large scale. It looks like that's still the case. Now, in addition, there is the Dragon Strike, which is that. It's basically just a bite attack that they can do. So we can do a bite attack with our dragon, which is all well and good. And then, of course, Dragon Down and Baby Dragon Off. Get your baby dragon off of you and to actually land your dragon like this. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up our dragon. We're just going to get him over here, and we're going to sit him down, and we're going to exit that. And then what we can do is if we drop this and drop that in there, our dragon's going to recognize it, and he's going to start using it. Now you'll notice it's a little bit wild to watch because he doesn't sit still, so that it looks like he's actually crafting it. You know, it does take a while to craft. But once he finishes, we will get our very first piece of Dragon Steel. And there we go. Fire Dragon Steel Ingot. And we get the Forged in Flame advancement for creating a Dragon Steel Ingot from Dragon Blood and Iron. Now, he's going to continue doing this until the materials are no longer in here to make anything. If I was to pull these out right now, he would stop. He'd stop breathing fire into this. So you can't have him like constantly breathing flame for like a cool visual effect, but at the same time, since he turns so much, it's not that cool to watch. I'm hoping there comes a point where he'll actually stand still and just breathe, this fire into the aperture here as like a constant flame breath. But it is still a really cool crafting mechanic and not something that you see in other mods, really. And with this, we'll be able to get our Fire Dragon Steel that we need to make our helmet, our chest plate, our leggings, and our boots. So I'm going to let him craft for a minute, and then we'll see about getting some pieces crafted together. And I wanted to show you this. Whenever it starts to turn night, the dragon is going to stop working, and he's actually going to sleep for a bit. Which, of course, in turn means that the forge is not running. That's no good. So we're going to put him back to work. And you can see he is now back to work. So just bear that in mind. Make sure, if you're running a lot of it, make sure and keep it daytime. Otherwise, your dragon's going to get lazy on you. So no sleeping on this game. So, guess he's going to do that. Come here, dragon. He's crazy. An easy way to fix that is to set your dragon to sit. So he is determined not to, but yeah, we want him to stay. Alright. And actually it seems like he's not turning so bad. He's not twitching. Maybe that was the issue. I've never, like I said, I've never made this in survival mode. I've always just tested around with it in creative. It seems like that fixes the twitching though. Interesting. Interesting. So yeah, set it to staying. And you can kind of actually have that cool visual then. So I'm kind of wondering if I can't just... Let's see, sickly dragon meal. I mean, he's a good size. Just have him be like a workhorse. Also, for the record, if you shift right click, you can put your armor on your dragon as well as a banner if you have a banner design that you want your dragon to show off. Which we will be putting some dragon armor on our dragons. I don't know if we'll put any on this one for sure, but... But I don't know. We'll see. But anyways, you can also see his stats, his health, his gender, his hunger, his stage, and his owner, as well as his name. If you change his name, which we will. Now, one thing to note, his hunger will go down. And whenever it reaches 0, it's kind of like a player's hunger, where if he's not fed, and this can be just raw meat or something that he can eat. But if he's not fed, he will begin to lose HP. He will never die from losing HP, but he will get to low health from losing HP. So if you find that your dragon is losing health, that's the reason, is the hunger stat. So just bear that in mind. If you're using them for decor and stuff, it's not a big deal, but if you're using them for battle, it's a little bit more important to kind of watch out for their HP going down and their hunger building up. Now I'm going to make a sickly dragon meal, and we're going to try this. Now in the past, there was a lot of bugs with this where... oh, it's an eclipse. There was a lot of bugs with this where if your dragon ever got put into a horn, or you logged, or the server restarted, or you logged off and logged back in, is he really gonna sleep? He's gonna sleep during a eclipse. Interesting. I'm gonna go ahead and give him the sickly dragon meal, which should work to where he can never grow anymore. Which would be awesome. It's great for if you have a dragon that you don't want to, get bigger. Like for decor. I mean, I don't want the dragon that's out here working the forge to be too big. Because I want to put other things out here other than just a single dragon. Ideally, maybe a couple dragons would be cool. So having this one over here working the forge, I think he's a fine size for that. But we'll have to give it some time and see if he grows. Also, I want to see if he wanders much. So, because that was also an issue in the past. But now that he's staying with his forge, well, I'm really excited for that. Because, yeah, he's behaving as he should. And I've got to figure out a good name for him to be my forge master. My first forge dragon. But I wouldn't mind maybe having additional forges. That would be kind of cool. But anyways, I'm going to give him some time to keep running. And I'll be back in just a bit. Okay, it's been a little bit, not a ton of time. I was editing some footage while I waited for him to finish making the metal. The metal's done being made, and in the time, I also hatched 2 more dragons. I haven't hatched all of them, of course, but we have a gray baby dragon, and we have a bronze baby dragon. Which I'm going to go ahead and take the rest of our dragon meals and just feed this one up. There we go. And you can see the way it works if it's sitting on you. Apparently I'm at half health at the moment. And if I was to put out another dragon, you can see that one can sit on my shoulder as well. So I can have, a couple different dragons, and then if I want them down, I hit the... I think I have to target it though. Down baby dragon. Or just shift, if that works, okay. But yeah, and these both came out to be females. So we do have everything that we need really to start breeding fire dragons at this point. And also, I named him Balagos. So that is his name. And if you want dragon skulls of like tier 1 and stage 1 and stage 2, you can do that by breeding dragons and then killing them. It's not too hard to do if you want smaller dragon skulls. It's kind of cruel, I think, but it is just a game after all. But in here, you can see that our fire dragon steel is done. So we do have 38 pieces of fire dragon steel ingots. And so what I want to do, let's pop over to the storage building. And I want to go ahead and make our armor. We're going to be enchanting this stuff pretty soon. But this stuff is very, very powerful. Being some of the pretty much the strongest armor in the game, not including maybe Draconic Evolution, stuff like that, but that stuff's pretty much God mode armor. So, not to mention, this stuff looks pretty cool, but apparently I'm not going to look like anything right now because it does this randomly. I look like this. That's how cool of armor it is. It's like the coolest armor. And to make the sword, we are going to need any kind of wither bone. There's a couple different versions in this pack, but I'm just going to use the regular ice and fire one. But there is the TC one also. We do that, and there we go. There is our fire dragon steel sword. And we got the achievement Draconic Evolution. Apparently I'm not holding a sword either. I may have to restart real quick to get our visuals, because I want you guys to be able to see this armor. And you can see that my armor has extra armor, because like this stuff is only 9 armor. It's like kind of what, a little bit better than diamond on armor, but like 1 less toughness. This stuff has 12 armor and 6 toughness. I mean, the headpiece has almost as much defense as diamond does, you know. It's extremely, extremely powerful armor. Not to mention, it does reduce damage from dragon breath attacks. Pretty much to the point where dragons are a joke for us once we have this stuff on. Okay, we're back. And my armor is now rendering. My sword is rendering, and I look like a creeper. If I take off these, you can see that's how it looks if you're not wearing any kind of goggles or anything like that. So you can kind of see your eyes, but that's it. So pretty cool, and I love it with the Thaumcraft goggles. It just fits so nicely. Now one thing I want to do, just really, really quick, so I can show you guys and go over it with you guys, because we're kind of covering dragons and we're kind of coming to the end of like a lot of our dedicated on-screen time for fire dragons within the series. We will still do some ice dragons, just briefly touching on them. They work pretty much identical to fire dragons. The only difference is hatching eggs and breeding. You use ice lily mixture for breeding, and you basically have to encase it in ice, letting it freeze in water, basically, in order to hatch the eggs. But if you go to any kind of a hot type biome, and even some, like, I've seen these in weird places before, and also the nether will have them. These are fairly common. These are called fire lilies. Oh. Well, let's go kill a fire dragon in our new super spiffy dragon armor. And who knows, maybe we'll get a green egg. You can breed green eggs though, so it's not a big deal. But, and it is possible to get a green egg. Why am I getting like lag? Dragon actually hit me pretty hard. But anyways, I remember that there was a time when the fire dragon armor, and it may still be the case, I'm not even like sure, to be honest, but there was a time when the fire dragon armor reduced the damage from ice dragons and vice versa. So that may still be the case. I need to get some enchants on this thing. Because I think right now, I think this weapon's still better, just because it attacks faster. And I'm assuming, yeah, these chests are empty. That's fine. But I did get 10 more Fire Dragon blood bottles. So that's good. Oh, actually, I don't have the bones at the moment to actually get my dragon leveled up to a stage 3. I just don't have it at the moment. So I'm going to have to wait on that. Yeah, it's really, really simple, and I've showed it off a number of times, and I'll be sure to show it off on here whenever I get around to breeding them. But just feed your mixture to your female and then feed it to the male, and you'll be able to get your dragons to breed. And they're gonna make a little nest. So just a heads up, like I'm gonna set them somewhere that's not important whenever I breed them, because they will cover up some of these blocks, like change them into a nest. Chances are. So just a heads up on that. That is the case. But right now this armor set doesn't make us completely immune to dragons, but I'm still thinking that, like I said, there was a time I remember whenever the fire dragon armor specifically reduced damage from ice dragons by a lot, and it may still be the case. It may still reduce it slightly from fire, but I think if you use the opposite armors as what you're fighting, it has a bigger effect, if I recall correctly. So it's probably why we're taking, because I mean we were still taking a lot of damage from his breath attacks, but that could be what it is. So, but we need to get some enchants in that. I'd like to get the enchanter and maybe some Botania enchanting up and going for that. So we might push into that before too long, but honestly it's not a huge rush, because I was mainly just making this armor because we were killing dragons to get them out of the base, and I figured, well, we'll just go ahead and do that. But it will do less damage to, like, this sword will do less damage right now to, like, withers and stuff, because this sword does have smite on it. So, but the armor especially is really, really nice upgrade for us. Normal mobs gonna do a half heart of damage. I know this one's got a sword. I think it's a stone sword though, so it's not. No, it's a TC sword. Anyways, I'm going to end out this episode here because I know it's about wrapping up point, but I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you did, as always, be sure and hit that like button and go ahead and subscribe if you're not already. Stay updated with when new videos come out. Next week's episode will be kind of a build, like I said, more of a speed build episode. We're working on kind of bringing some things together around the base, and we may start on the dragon cave a little bit. I don't know for sure. It just depends on where we get to. So I've started the video, but I haven't finished it by far. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope to see you guys next time. Until then, as always, do take care, stay safe, and I'll see you guys then.